The United States is simply an observer. The United States is being an enabler in what Israel has been doing. Because if we keep on entertaining discussions on is she an anti-Semite or not, I'm sorry. Think what you want of me. I will do my job until I have this mandate, and that is it. I just presented my 5th report, 3rd to the General Assembly, which has a very harrowing title, Genocide as Colonial Erasure. And as I say in the first lines of the report, this is something that walks on the heels of my previous report, which I presented to the Human Rights Council in March this year, where I concluded that based on my findings over 5 months of investigation, there were reasonable grounds to believe that Israel had committed acts of genocide in Gaza. I can say that for over 1 year, I've pleaded to all concerned parties, particularly those states who can exert more influence on the state of Israel, to take concrete actions to stop the destruction of Gaza, the destruction of the Palestinian people, to ensure the prompt and unconditional release of all hostages, both Israelis and Palestinians, and to ensure international law is respected. And had international law been respected, at least in the last 12 months, this would have stopped. It should have stopped. It should have been stopped by the Security Council last October. It should have been stopped after the first set of provisional measures issued by the International Court of Justice. It should have stopped when I presented my first report. It should have stopped before Rafah was invaded or before the invasion of Lebanon. And instead, the silence, or worse, the justification of a small but influential number of states has continued to enable and to nurture the hubris that leads Israeli conduct. The violence, the genocidal violence that I have described in my first report has expanded and metastasized in other parts of the occupied Palestinian territory. And if you look at the numbers of extrajudicial killings in the West Bank as well, on top of the 42,000 Palestinians who have been killed, ascertained killed in Gaza, including 17,000 children, how do you explain the over 700 Palestinians who have been killed in the West Bank, including 170 children? Special rapporteurs get attacked when they scrutinize the human rights records of member states. And there are states who are more vociferous and virulent than others. What is striking in the case of Israel is that there is a cohort of states who echoes and reverberates what Israel says and does. And there is an army of minions at work to produce literally fabrications that have one and only one objective: to distract the attention from where it should stay. But it's surely unique in the determination, the protractedness of this conduct, and the fact that Israel has never faced any consequences. And indeed, I do believe that the impunity that has been granted to Israel has allowed it to become a serial violator of international law, which is the reason why I recommended that this is the time, as it has been for apartheid South Africa, to consider, for the General Assembly, to consider the suspension, recommending the revision or the suspension of Israel's credentials as a member of the United Nations, until it ends violating international law, until it withdraws the occupation, which is clearly unlawful also by determination of the International Court of Justice, and surely until it continues its genocidal attack on the Palestinians.
This is the ambassador of the United States at the United Nations. What's your response to
I
the
have the same shock that you have looking at how the United States is behaving in this context, in the context of the genocide that is unfolding in Gaza. I'm not surprised that they attack anyone who speaks to the facts that are, frankly, on our watch in Gaza, and they do that so brutally because they feel called out, because it's not that the United States is simply an observer. The United States is being an enabler in what Israel has been doing. Because if we keep on entertaining discussions on is she an anti-Semite or not, I'm sorry. Think what you want of me. I will do my job until I have this mandate, and that is it.